O'Sullivan and Trump on this table. First of all, it's Ronnie O'Sullivan against Soheil Vahedi of Iran, appearing in the last 16 of a ranking event for the first time in his career. And he's sort of coming on to Ronnie's terrain here, isn't he? The main table under the lights with all the attention is where O'Sullivan plays his snooker because of who he is and what he's achieved. No doubt there have been times where O'Sullivan has looked a little vulnerable, but you've still got to beat him. No one has yet this week. And if you follow snooker, you'll know that O'Sullivan needs to do well here to get into the Players' Championship, the second event of the Coral Series, which would then give him a chance of getting in the Tour Championship, which is for the top 8 in the one-season list. He won both of those events last year, but you don't get in as defending champion. You have to be first top 16 on the 1 year, then top 8.
Well, there's a man that could stop him from achieving it. That is the Iranian number 2 player behind Hossein Vahedi, but he looks to be an improved player, judging by his results recently. That's a good shot from Ronnie. I thought it was fair last night when he was asked about all of that, about the rankings and, you know, the position in the 1 year list and the 2 year list. He said he didn't want to almost disrespect the tournament he's playing in now by looking too far ahead. I think that's fair. This is a tournament that's been on the calendar a long time, and, you know, it'd be nice to win it. Never mind what happens beyond Sunday evening, I suppose.
Yes, and it's not going to be an easy tournament to win with so many big hitters still going strong. Sullivan has won it 4 times, this Welsh Open. And this is his 100th match in the competition since he made his debut in 1993. John Higgins holds the record. He's playing his 102nd right now against Luca Brissell. His first appearance in the tournament, he qualified nil, and then took a real drubbing 5-0 to an established player. Your good self.
Yeah, well, he was only young then. And it was his favourite venue as well, the Newport Centre, that one. He gave me a few hidings after that, I can assure you. The expression, every dog has his day, that's what they say, isn't it?
11.
Well, this one I think has got quicker, which is unusual. The currents doesn't mean it gets easier when it gets quicker. As time goes on, as days pass.
Yeah, I thought what he said about the table was very measured, actually. He wasn't being critical, he was just saying it as he saw it. And it's obviously down to players to adapt to conditions.
The thing we don't know, and Ronnie is unlikely to ever find out, is what
15.
the other tables have been playing like, because Soheil has been on all kinds of tables that have not been show tables to get this far, and he wants to find out what the table is tonight as well. Ronnie will do his best to stop that ever happening. Made a good start here. The opening red was very cleanly potted. I guess if the tables are playing tighter, there seems to be the suggestion, and the real clean potters, dare I say, the O'Sullivans Trump, and of course Robertson, everything seems to be hitting the back of the pocket with him at the moment. They're going to be hard to beat, aren't they? Just fizzed off that cushion and has gone a little bit too far.
19. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 19.
So just having to accept that the break was over. Soheil Vahedi, world number 115. He won the world amateur title in 2016. Was relegated actually last year, but got back on straight away through the Q School. In fact, he qualified from the first of 3 events at Q School. His career was interrupted as an amateur by a spell in the Iranian army. He had to do national service. And couldn't play for 6 months, but what he did, quite interesting actually, he said he had some paper and he drew various shots on the paper just to remind himself essentially what the shots were, and then when he got back to practicing he had it all written down. Whether any of that will prepare him for this match tonight, I'm not so sure, with O'Sullivan knocking that one in.
It reminded me a little bit of the business with Ray Reardon when he was in the mines and the mine collapsed and he survived by just imagining the frames of snooker in his mind. You remember heard that story, Dave? It's in his book. Yes, playing is the best thing, but anything else you can do to stimulate the mind is helpful as well.
Yeah, of course, they're playing for the Ray Reardon Trophy. Yeah, Soheil was, it's a pretty hairy situation, actually. It makes me laugh when people say snooker players don't know what the real world is like. Actually, a lot of them do.
Same as Hossein Vahedi, the other Iranian. He's had some tough times outside of the snooker as well. All credit to them for being the players they are. It's a very skillful game.
Sort of played down his win over Jack earlier, didn't he? He said he got a bit lucky, but he must have played well. He had some breaks and real confidence booster to beat such a talented player so comfortably, 4-0. Double kiss here though.
Sorry. It's one of those where the double kiss looked on and you heard a sorry there. It looks like he's got out of jail because he's not left anything. Cancel that. The apology from Soheil was a bit premature. He did leave a red, a difficult one.
I thought the same last week for Cheltenham, albeit he wasn't ultimately successful, but here this week he's been very businesslike on and off the table. Ronnie O'Sullivan, he's here to do a job.
Well, he's got hold of this a little bit too much. Well, what does he do here? Does he need to take the blue on? He's got an opponent under a bit of pressure. Well, just times, just an observer and a snooker fan, I think that Ronnie, if he raises himself in for the odd shot, it's more positive than taking on something rash and giving your opponent a chance. To me, that's the right shot. He knows Soheil Vahedi is not familiar with the conditions. Rather than give him an easy starter, he's done the opposite. I think that's the right shot.
If he does win, he could play Mark Selby again. Of course, they've had a few battles, not least in Scotland. Selby going strong in another Home Nations event. 1-2, lost in the decider in the quarters in Belfast. You know, had he won that, all we'd be talking about this week would be that £1 million bonus. Now then, another chance I think here.
One. Seven. Eight. Fourteen. 15.
Well, the tactics worked. He forced the opening and is powering on in this opening frame.
Yeah, this is the way to play, isn't it? He's looking confident, applying early pressure. And while the cue ball has not been under the usual consummate control, he just gives the impression that he's getting sharper.
22.
He's had something happen to him this season that hasn't happened for a while. He's played a lot of opponents that have played to the top of their game against him. I think of Graham Dott, the form he was in, to beat him last week. Even Dominic Dale in the World Open played particularly well in that match.
28.
In previous years they'd struggled to do that against him. So that's
29.
where he's at with his game.
Snooker's required then for Soheil Vahedi. Yes, when Ronnie O'Sullivan won his second world title in 2004, because he had Ray Reardon on the crew then, advising him.
37.
And his match play at that time was excellent, all round.
$44. 45.
'Well, he changed his mind at the very last second on that shot. May have got a kick, I'm not sure, but I think he just changed his mind a split second before he played the shot. May have had something to do with it.
Soheil Vahedi playing on for a bit of experience on this table. He's not going to win the frame, but he can pot a few balls, maybe just try and get a feel of it, because of course he hasn't played in it at all yet.
He took a few people by surprise there, I think, by playing on, but he has. He's entitled to do it because he wants to get the feel of the conditions.
7.
A nice pot with the rest on the yellow. Mark Selby's won the first frame in his match against Xiao Jingtong. Corin Wilson's taken the first against Ding. It's a big evening here with some real big hitters, Neil, out there.
It really is. I mean, tonight would be... It's great to watch it on Eurosport. The fact is, if you were in the area, it would be a terrific night to watch about 4 or 5 tables at once. Because the matches on the outside tables are exceptional as well.
Yeah, John Higgins, Luca Braccelli's down on table 4. I mean, that could be a TV match in its own right. Anyway, this frame has been won by O'Sullivan. It's just that Vahedi, understandably, is looking to just settle in, get a feel of it.
Vahedi. 16.
He
hasn't conceded, so Ronnie O'Sullivan comes back to the table.
Yeah, he just maybe not conceding on Ronnie's shot might be what he's doing, which is etiquette.
Suspect he's seen enough now, though.
Vahedi 5, Ronnie O'Sullivan frame.
Stays where he is. So Ronnie O'Sullivan, bits and pieces, that's all it was, but he controlled the frame very well. And he's off and running. Remember, it's first to 4 to reach the quarter-finals of the Welsh Open here in Cardiff this evening. Ronnie O'Sullivan leads Soheil Vahedi 1-0.
I was going to shut down my family bookstore, but the Indian rhinoceros saved it. In my travels through Kaziranga, I heard the story of the rhino.
50 years ago, there were only 400 rhinos. But now, there are more than 2,400.
India showed me what can happen if you don't give up. And if the Indian rhino can make a comeback, so can my bookstore.